A full moon in Taurus occurs on November 17th, 2013 at 7:16 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10:16 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 2:16 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. After the intense new moon eclipse in Scorpio, it is believed that our strongest intentions are set so that we can charge up to the full moon in Taurus, riding upon the chariot of Pluto known as the Scorpio Sun. The full moon in Taurus is a time to reflect and rebalance how to create realistic, stable, and enduring foundations for all of your dreams, desires, and goals. Venus-ruled Taurus moves slowly during the year of the snake, building, organizing, and refining community assets in personal and transpersonal ways. In contrast, the new moon in Scorpio was about identifying all of your challenges, aligning them with the intensity of your passion, and letting go of unhealthy excess. This energy helps people to transcend and transform emotional and personal challenges through the interpersonal resistance and adversity that help you to build a foundation of long-term success. The unstoppable, passionate, and sensuous pursuit of personal and collective goals is the unifying bridge between the Scorpio new moon eclipse and the Taurus full moon. In the philosophy of tropical astrology, the apparent path of the sun around the earth is called the ecliptic. Each of the zodiac signs is usually up to 5 degrees above or below this line. This line is also an intersection between the many cycles of the earth, sun, and the moon that cause solar and lunar eclipses. The new moon in Scorpio temporarily blocked out immeasurable electromagnetic energy from the sun as it passed between our local star and the earth on the ecliptic. There is a new moon every 28 to 30 days. However, when the moon lines up within 3 degrees of the planes of the earth and the ecliptic, it forms a cosmic intersection called a node. The north node is where the moon goes above the ecliptic, and the south node is where the moon dips below the ecliptic. If the node forms while the moon is between the earth and the sun, it causes a solar eclipse. If the node forms while the moon is behind the earth, this causes a lunar eclipse. While each eclipse happens in a different location when they occur, many astrologers believe that eclipses have a profound transpersonal effect on our personal choices. The strongest effects of the eclipse can be felt 3 days before the eclipse occurs and up to 3 days after the eclipse has happened. A solar eclipse is generally a good time to set your intentions, while a lunar eclipse is considered a good time to check in on your progress. So during the next eclipse on April 15th, 2014, consider rebalancing the challenges you are facing to increase the likelihood of reaching your goals. Since Mercury was retrograde in the sign of Scorpio while in conjunction with Saturn in Scorpio, rebirth, reevaluation, and revolution through evolution will continue to define the rest of November. The sudden and shocking challenges between Uranus in Aries and Pluto in Capricorn hit the 4th of 7 squares on November 1st, setting the stage for personal desires to run against public and social order. Jupiter and Cancer joined the cosmic square dance, so be careful not to let the undisciplined part of your lower instincts run off to spite your higher-minded, virtuous nature. The goddess of love, Venus, moved from the expansive and freedom-loving Sagittarius into the mother goddess matriarch known as Capricorn the sea goat. Venus is about our passions, ethics, and our sense of justice. Therefore, expect that the alignment of Venus with Pluto and the fire of Earth, Crone Capricorn, to add more long-term stability to everything that you are trying to accomplish. Since Pluto and Venus are harmonizing in Capricorn, this makes a friendly aspect with Saturn in Scorpio. Expect these energies to assist in establishing the credibility and authority needed to jump from brainstorming sparks into rock-solid ventures. With passionate Venus leading the Saturnian force channeled through Pluto, don't be shocked if ventures started in the past resurrect into a dream made real. Chiron in Pisces comes out of retrograde November 19th to help us to heal from our challenges. This energy will establish a clear path of physical, mental, and emotional wellness that will help us to reach the goals that we set at the solar eclipse. For those of us with Uranus in Libra, prepare for the butterfly to start to emerge from the chrysalis. Taurus and Libra are both ruled by the goddess of love, Venus. Venus is the second planet from the Sun with a 224 Earth Day orbit around the Sun. This universal goddess archetype has a 240 Earth Day rotation. So in short, Venus's year is longer than her day. Venus is a hot planet with massive supervolcanoes and a runaway greenhouse effect. The planet is named after the Roman goddess of love, who is also known as Astarte, Ishtar, Inanna, Ixchel, Oshun, Isis, and Aphrodite. Opposite of Taurus on the ecliptic, Scorpio is ruled by the lord of the underworld known as Hades or Dispater. But the modern name for this planet is Pluto. Pluto has a 247-year orbit around the Sun at such a far distance that it is considered to be cold and dark. While modern astronomers have reclassified Pluto as a dwarf planet, many astrologers continue to discuss Pluto with the same significant influence in one's natal chart. Many astrologers continue to associate the classical personality traits of both the god of war Mars and the lord of the underworld Pluto to the zodiac sign of Scorpio. The meshing of these two archetypes, along with the myths of Ophiuchus, Asclepius, and Imhotep, Scorpio is known to have various personas. These personas include the spider, the scorpion, the lizard, the serpent, the wolf, the eagle, and of course, the phoenix. Due to Scorpio's hot and sensual reputation, many people relate Scorpio to the sting of the Scorpio or the fire of the phoenix and the god of war Mars. Like Mars, most Scorpios make love like they make war, passionately. Like all opposite signs of the zodiac, the full moon in Taurus takes place during the sun sign of Scorpio. So expect the scheming, sensuous aspects of Pluto-ruled Scorpio to continue its sex dwarf dance with Venus. During this dance of co-creation, many will try to avoid allowing their logical nature to be abducted by the call of their physical nature. The zodiac sign Taurus represents Jupiter abducting Europa and swimming her to Crete, where she becomes queen. Of course, there are countless stories of Jupiter and his endless sexcapades, including the stories of Io, Leto, Leda, Alcmene, Maia, and many more. Perhaps the most infamous of the stories is the abduction of young Ganymede of Troy. Ganymede, along with Uranus and Prometheus, is associated with the zodiac sign of Aquarius. According to Homer's account of the myth, Jupiter captured Ganymede's attention after he assumed the form of an eagle. Once a relationship was established, the Olympian carried young Ganymede off to Mount Olympus, where he would take the place of Hera's daughter Hebe as the cupbearer of the gods. We now recognize Jupiter's eagle symbol as the thunderbolt of Jupiter. This full moon in Taurus represents the social, economic, and spiritual accounting associated with the second house. Saturn's abacus of accountability resonates through Pluto and Capricorn so that we can replace high ideals with realistic long-term plans. The essence of the battle taking place between Venus-ruled Taurus and Mars-Pluto-ruled Scorpio is a renegotiation of stagnation versus overindulgence. As we ride out the reflective and regenerative energies of the Scorpio Sun, get ready to jump into light speed as the Sun moves into fiery Jupiter-ruled Sagittarius. Stay sharp as Venus in Capricorn opposes Jupiter in Cancer right as the first leg of the holiday season begins in the Western world. If things become challenging, remember that we will refuel our chariot of fortune with the arrival of the new moon in Jupiter-ruled Sagittarius on December 2nd, 2013 at 4:23 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Saturn, Mars, and Mercury create a stellium in Scorpio right at the north node of the moon. The friendly aspect to Pluto and Venus in Capricorn may whisper to your psyche to get in touch with the unseen cosmic energy that lies just out of the reach of your consciousness. The building block energy of the recent eclipse inspires you to integrate the mind, body, and spirit to create the sustainable personal and professional growth that will have a global impact on the world. Cancer Drive and Wisdom reminds us that riding the waves of our personal and shadowy seas helps us to develop the courage to face down any tempest that life can produce. Consider trusting that you have the necessary skill to handle any challenge that may appear in your life without you having to retreat into your shell. Pisces Drive and Wisdom reminds us that life is a dream whether you are asleep or awake. So dream yourself alive by recognizing that you are the celestial architect of the zodiac with the golden means to connect the microcosm to the macrocosm in both thought and in deed. Expect a higher octave of healing and understanding to be the theme in your life as Neptune and Chiron harmonize with Saturn and Pluto. The band of death that connects the fish that swims among the heavens to the fish that swims in the material world transmutes into a pathway of exchange between the divine sacred masculine and the divine sacred feminine. Now is not the time to sacrifice your dreams. It is a time to take the necessary action to manifest your dreams in a way that keeps them reachable and sustainable. Scorpio Drive and Wisdom reminds us that procrastination and stagnation keep you trapped in the underworld of your mind's eye. Time to recognize the value in all of your personal mistakes and use the lessons as a map that leads you to the treasure of wisdom that will potentially benefit everyone in your life. The fierce protective sting of the scorpion won't be necessary with just the right amount of Mars-Pluto discipline. Now is the time to embrace the eagle persona and rise beyond the limit of your previous comfort zone into the stratosphere of limitless imagination and ingenuity. You have now crossed the threshold beyond fear and panic into the lair of your spiritual phoenix. The wisdom, drive, and phoenix focus will help you to rise above limitations as you create endless possibilities out of the ashes of the challenges of your past. Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. The Sun goes into Sagittarius November 21st at 7:48 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Time to look at the cosmic solution in the law of attraction. This is not about money, but about how attachment to the temporary material and aesthetic goals in popular culture serve to confuse us about the permanence of spirit. It is a time to question that which we hold on to so that we tell ourselves that we are safe and secure. Uranus in Aries continues to lead the charge of forward-thinking change led by the fire sign continuum. Leo Drive and Wisdom reminds us that life is a continuous hunt for satisfaction, safety, and opportunity. But the king of the jungle knows not to hang on to anything past the expiration date to make space for new opportunities. Leo is known for the most powerful muscle known to humanity, the heart. Trust your heart to fill in all of the blanks that appear as you grapple to seek out perfection under the light of the Taurus full moon. Sagittarius Drive and Wisdom reminds us that being bold and outspoken also means having the strength and courage to take the same feedback that you provide so freely to others. The teacher of heroes wants you to heal yourself by accepting greater challenges that lead to expanded development. As Sagittarius's ruler Jupiter retrogrades through the sign of Cancer, don't forget the king of the gods' gift of intuition. Intuition fused with the intellect can be the flashpoint of change that will allow you to gallop on the eight-legged horse of divine destiny. Aries Drive and Wisdom reminds us that pioneering change is the only way to create a brave new world on the foundation of equity. Emperor Aries is the seat of change, set to the inspirational music of the zesty and bold innovations that start the revolutions and lead to the revelations of Renaissance thinking. So get prepared to turn up the beat and play musical chairs on the chariot of fire being driven by Aries the Ram and Uranus the Awakener. Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini. Passionate Venus turns up the heat as she conjoins Pluto and increases the coherent shockwaves of the cosmic square dance led by Uranus the sky god. As we head towards the Sagittarius sun, it is time to turn up the heat on the alchemy of social learning and building. This is the season of social salsa, so I hope that you like your social situations hot and spicy, as Venus in Capricorn will be packing a punch of picante for people who are just going through the motions. Libra Drive-In Wisdom reminds us that partnership and co-creation is best built on the foundation of communication, freedom, and trust. This means that one must consider the role that faith and trust plays into the building blocks of long-term stability while considering options for accountability. Be careful not to confuse your friendly critics with your hostile, open enemies as you seek balance and clarity at home and at work. Now more than ever, you must trust your instincts when you don't have the privilege of weighing all of your options. Aquarius Drive-In Wisdom reminds us that there is no space for excuses if we choose to be in charge of our own happiness and abundance. The Rebel Camp leader demands that you measure twice and cut once, but be prepared to do it all over if it does not live up to higher-minded scrutiny. The ramtastic ramifications of Uranus running through Aries represents a continual stream of fertile ideas and change that give birth to Promethean possibility and progress. The journey through the wounded teacher of heroes, Sagittarius, presents the opportunity to focus on that which we would like to create for the world instead of focusing in on that which is not working. So while you take a detached and objective view of the social and emotional changes that you've experienced, remember that you have the strength of a Titan. Consider that it may be necessary for you to put yourself out there and be vulnerable if you want real growth. Gemini Drive-In Wisdom reminds us that we can honor both hemispheres of the brain by making choices that honor the high ratio of rational thinking balanced with the ambrosia meridians that bridge our mind with our chakras and our intuition. Time to tap into the rainbow bridge of collective creativity as we begin our journey towards next month's full moon in Gemini. In a never-ending campaign to stave off the boredom of building, remember that saving some spirit for a rainy day does not always mean the sleepless nights of frustration seeking the perfect balance. Now that Mercury is out of retrograde, it is time to focus on the pillars of knowledge that drive the development of the Gemini spirit to ascend to the next stage of physical, intellectual, and spiritual ascension. Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. Self-indulgence versus obligation to others is the main theme that plays out this season as we balance community responsibility and personal growth. Beyond the full moon in Taurus, we move from our transpersonal focus to our personal view, highlighting creativity and self-expression. November's Cancer moon reignites the dueling squares and encourages us to reflect on the emotional growth and the benefits of taking chances. Will we hold back the leaps of faith necessary for collective growth and change? Or will we recognize that the safest choices sometimes inhibit us from looking outside the box to find a solution that benefits everyone? Virgo Drive-In Wisdom reminds us that precision, control, and discipline are the tools of process that consistently produce the outcomes that you can count on. But the leader of the sixth house knows that engineers with the best tools cannot solve challenges without the flexibility of the imagination and the commitment to a greater cause. Capricorn drive and wisdom reminds us that while we are in a season with no earth signs, it is best to move at a slow speed with the intention to combust into action once all of your blueprints are ready for building. Writing poetry, meeting new neighbors, hosting blog hops, our goats certainly have had a very busy season. But don't worry, Captain Capricorn and Sergeant Saggicorn will assist us while Venus inspires ambitious and solid projects that will flower right before the next equinox. Taurus drive and wisdom reminds us that we cannot be committed to building the best projects, but we must learn not to get attached to outcomes that cannot be changed. While it is necessary to run with the bull of progress and organization, it is important to value the symbiotic relationship of personal accomplishment and community input. Determination and perseverance may help you reach your goals, but being abducted by your own celestial bull means that you will not get the support and buy-in necessary for continued success. So pay close attention to all of the details and read all of the fine print. With the fires of change, you are likely to find yourself snatched from your comfort zone, but you will not be taken to Mount Olympus to join Ganymede. Venus ruling over Taurus influences people born under this sign to be passionate and ethical. Taurus people tend to be patient, reliable, warm, loving, persistent, determined, sensual, and productive. But for every positive aspect of this Venus-ruled fixed sign, there is a dark side. Taurus people can be jealous, possessive, resentful, self-indulgent, greedy, stubborn, inflexible, materialistic, and slow. The most patient and calm Earth's hero of the hexahedron is slow to anger, but can simmer with the rage of Venus' largest and most fiery volcanoes. Beware, this hot lover is equally prone to hot-headed meltdowns when frustrated. So I suggest keeping the Taurus people in your life on the sunny side, regardless of the Pollyanna politics and ethics that rules over the bull. Or, in the very least, keep a shovel close in case you have to dig your way out of all that bull. The full moon in Taurus and the new moon in Scorpio are reminders that our small life histories must disappear into the larger picture of cosmic history. Under the galactic tone of 9, we gain bigger perspective and insight into the patterns coming to completion. This required perseverance and attention to the larger picture so that we don't needlessly suffer due to the lack of insight. The full moon in Taurus vibrates under the galactic tone 10, so intentions, ideas, and hopes become tangible and manifest physically. This represents the building or transmutation that happens when intention bends imagination into reality. The year of the Blackwater Snake represents the unveiling of the sacred mysteries to the common person. This knowledge helps to destroy the many repressive belief systems by getting us to recognize that shedding our skin is the infinite cycle of change connected to growth. Like the snake, we must shed our old skin in order to survive. This symbolizes the life, death, and rebirth cycle connected to a multitude of Trinity archetypes in spirituality. The charge of Taurus the Bull is a continuous reminder that the animal within can be a monster that abducts us with our endless desire, or the animal within can be our most formidable spirit guide, carrying us to dimensions far beyond the reach of any of the limitations of the mind and the body. We learn a very important lesson from the labor of Hercules and the bull. Horoscopes and intense self-interest in our own petty affairs may be natural and normal, but it is nonetheless myopic or short-sighted. The contrasting energies of Taurus and Scorpio are to remind us to look beyond the egoic self-interest of everyday life and begin making choices based on our larger universal connection to our cosmic brothers and sisters. Each time we see conscious choices as being integral parts to a greater symbiotic whole, we all take one quantum leap forward towards unity consciousness and apotheosis. Following your passions and balancing them with the overindulgence of your shadow gives you strength through the act of compassion and self-forgiveness. If you find that you have been abducted by your passions, remember these words. Cooperation and compassionate communication equal unity consciousness. Compassionately expressing forgiveness of the self while forgiving others advances us one step deeper into the age of Aquarius.